Yuri, there is a dam in the Kherson region that is right now. A lot of people are watching it. They're concerned about it. What's the name of that dam? And what's the concern?
Well, it's a dam in Nova Kakhovka. It's on the river Dnieper, just a little above the city of Kherson. And, we are as well concerned because Russians have been using their propaganda and as well as their officials to spread very alarming messages. It, it does look like, and this is what the response of our partners has been. It does look like they're preparing a provocation, uh, and they will then accuse Ukraine of doing it. Now, of course, nobody believes that. Nobody in their right mind believes that Ukraine can even start contemplating anything like that on our own land. We value our land, and we're not going to use any dirty bomb on our soil.
Yeah,
Now,
that was my question. What kind of provocation are you hearing about?
our defense intelligence has information that there have been some uh, trucks with explosives on the dam. Of course, we don't have the access to the dam to inspect it or examine, but we have said to the international community that we are open to any investigation, and we urge the international community to actively, stop Russia from, if Russia is considering doing something crazy on that dam, then we all have to stop them from doing that, because as a result, the result could be a natural man-made disaster. It will flood over 80, 90 villages and small cities in that area. It's really alarming.
Roughly, how many people are in those villages, those 90 villages?
It's difficult to say, but it's thousands.
Okay. And if that dam, which I understand holds enough water that would be amount to about the same size as the Great Salt Lake in Utah, which is huge. And this dam, I think, is 100 feet tall. What would happen if that dam were blown up and that water rushed out?
There are different estimates of different experts, but there will be a huge wave that will go on and flood the left side of the Dnieper River, and the results are very difficult to predict, but they will be catastrophic.
Yeah. So, in the past few days, I was at a conference in Riga, in Latvia, and there was a lot of discussion there about the, you know, where this war goes from here, from now with the winter coming. Um, what are you hearing from the Ministry of Defense about plans during the winter? I'm not trying to get you to give us your secret and detailed information, but should we expect more of the same from the Ukrainian military during the course of the winter?
The Ukrainian military will continue to the best of our abilities and the best of the weapons that we have to conduct the counteroffensive and liberate our lands. But we have to be realistic, and of course, winter will be a factor. So the pace of the activities on the front may slow down. So it's natural. I mean, we hope that we will, before the winter arrives in full swing, that we can liberate as much as possible. But at this time, it is very difficult to make any exact predictions or estimations.
How is the fight against those kamikaze drones going? I've seen some pretty heroic pictures of people shooting them down with automatic weapons or, firearms. Uh, and haven't heard a lot about these drones in the last couple of days. Are they continuing to launch those drones at cities across Ukraine?
During the last few days, they've continued to launch these drones, perhaps in smaller numbers than we had about a week ago. The rate of the shooting them down by the air forces and air defense forces of Ukraine is, the estimates range, but it's between 75 to 80%. So it's pretty good, but the main problem is that the Russians, and we understand their tactics, they're trying to use these relatively cheap drones to exhaust our air defense resources, because sometimes we have to use expensive missiles to shoot down cheap drones. So that's a tactic, which means that we are now appealing to our international allies to provide us with, smaller types of air defense and anti-drone systems like jamming equipment, electronic warfare equipment, so that we don't have to use expensive missiles to shoot them down.
You get the sense that moving to a slightly different topic, but sort of on the same topic, they're using these cheap drones and they're trying to get people to fight, basically using prisoners to fight and forcing people to fight from, remote outposts around different parts of Russia, offering them, in some cases, I heard that they were offering them vouchers for vegetables, for food, in order to fight in this war. Do you get the sense that that whole effort is running out of steam, that they're weakening because it's not clear that the people they're bringing in are making a difference, because most of them, I hear, are dying within the first few days once they get there?
That's right. Overall, this partial mobilization has not resulted in any change on the front lines. As we said before, these newly mobilized Russian soldiers, they come ill-equipped, they come unprepared, they have no experience. So yes, they are dying in large numbers within the few days of their arrival. And this is another reason why Russia is now more desperate to, compensate even more for another setback on the battlefield and another policy, if you like, setback, this failed mobilization, because they've apparently achieved the numbers, but they've not achieved the quality.
Yeah. Yuri, I've been talking to you for close to 8 months about this war, shortly after it started. And, we've talked almost weekly, in some cases, daily in spurts about this. And you've been there every day. You and your colleagues have been there every day, just like the people on the battlefield. Every day you continue to show up and continue to do this. Can you give me a sense of how your colleagues and you are feeling about this war and the job ahead?
That's a good question, but in a strange way, we are beginning to get used to it, and it's a frightening feeling, because people should not get used to wars. People should not be accustomed to reading on a daily basis reports of casualties, of missile strikes. So I think, in a way, all of us, myself and my colleagues, we're all slightly crazy by now. We're not normal, because we've been living in an abnormal situation for 8 months now, and we understand that it's far from over. So we just try to make sure that we stay sane, that we stay in good shape, mentally and physically, because we need to be prepared for the next stages of this war, and we need to win this war. So we'll probably reflect on our emotions and on our internal life and how we experience this war after we win. But for now, we have to just, pull ourselves together and keep going.
Yeah. Last thing, is there anything that I haven't asked you about today that you think is important before we go?
Well, I would just like to bring to your attention and to the attention of your listeners an interesting fact which happened these days. I think the day before yesterday, actually, and so we have this one of Russian top propagandists who was on a program at RT Today, which is top Russian propaganda outlet, TV, a global outlet. So this guy comes on his last name is Krasovsky, and he's kind of thinking and contemplating out loud about what he would do with Ukrainian children, and he says, without blinking his eye, that Ukrainian children should be drowned in rivers and burned in wooden huts. So despite the fact that this guy was now dismissed from his position, this is just an illustration to, you know, who we are dealing with. We are dealing with a subhuman enemy, with an enemy which is worse than evil. And we, and I say we, I mean the international community, have to remember that this is a fight for our freedom and our survival as pretty much humanity, because it's a war of freedom against tyranny, of good against evil. So all means must be used. You know, we have to think about how to win this war. Because like I said, these examples show that these guys are just deranged.
That is one of the absolute most disturbing things that you've said to me during the time that we've been engaged. But I'm really glad you said it, because we need to know this. We need to understand this. We need to deal with that evil as a world. And thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you for your time and everything.
Thank you, JJ, for being there for us as well. Yeah, thanks.